Hello, everyone, and welcome to Straight Talk with Sophia and One. It is November 17th, 2023, and we are on episode number 18. And today we're going to explore the event, DNA, and healing. And I'm going to ask our questioner to repeat the question to get us started. So,
Thank you, Sophia.
you're welcome.
This was my question from back in April. When will the event finally happen? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. This is the question that everybody wants answered. I also understand that it is impossible to answer. How about this one? Will our DNA be converted back to its pristine original form with the event? Or will there be a process like the use of med beds after the event? I am a physician, and I'm aware that mainstream medicine only treats symptoms and not the true cause of illness. When will that change?
Okay, thanks. That's a great question. And the answer comes in probably 10 different parts. So I'm going to start with a little personal information about you, and then we'll go on to the question. So I'll read what one has to say. This questioner comes to us with a real desire to initiate actual health. This, as opposed to band-aids and salves. His prior form is that of a wise and powerful village healer. In one of his other incarnations, he delved deeply into healing. He was regarded as a seer and could visualize the true cause of illness or malfunction in those who came to him. His interest in and knowledge of the human body runs deep for him. There will not be many options or possibilities that he hasn't considered at some point in his physical life. He means to lift the race, and his knowledge and persistence leads him towards that direction. This question of timing comes from a deep knowing of the true potential of man, physical man. Even with this query, more information is being made available to the race, and this suits him. He cannot release the internal desire to know and then to assist. It is who he is. Yeah, on the next section. Questioner is one of the wise ones, filled with patience and a deep desire to assist. He may recall dreams or rememberings, and I know that's not a word, but that's how it always comes to me, of a lifetime spent as a healer. And here, I'm going to interrupt with what I saw because I heard a phrase. Actually, no, I didn't hear a phrase there. Which one was that? Okay, this is where I saw a being. I saw red, almost like a cape, and I saw there was a male. He had dark hair. There were boots. The cape was long and flowing, and he walked through a cobblestone street. There were small buildings on each side. This wasn't a city. It was more simple. And it wasn't really modern either. I don't know how to, almost like cobblestone. Yeah, cobblestone street, which I already said. So the buildings were simple. That was the vision that I got when he was describing you here. And then
Okay, no, that all makes sense. That's all, even though it's a little different, but it all makes sense.
does it?
Yeah, it does. One of the things I do and have since the beginning is I make sure I practice the art of medicine. I hold hands with my patients. The things that got lost in COVID. We were all so separated, but I made sure, even with people who wanted to keep their mask on, I would shake their hands and say, you're going to be okay. We're going to take care of you.
Mm.
And you can sense the ones who were really nervous, and I would hold their hand for as long as they wanted it. So Yes, no, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. He goes on to say a little bit more. He says, it was in this lifetime that there was exploration and research. Much learning took place. What he was what was gained then is not lost. It is fueling his current life. At his core, he is a healer. He should remember that there are all types of healers, and his specialty is restoration and renewal. The event of which he asks is a return, and his question reflects his knowledge of what it is a return to. The singularity is the point from which every potential springs. So that was his, that was most personal's um, description of you.
Okay, no, cool.
Okay. So he goes on to say that regarding the event, it is an often quoted, frequently misunderstood term, and it depends on who you're talking to, which definition will be used. Let us define it for this discussion. This event will signify both an ending and a beginning. It will be recognized globally and noted there too. It will incorporate a physical definition, but only the moment when there was a physical response, a reaction from the universe that cannot be ignored. This event cannot be defined differently according to location or background. It is quite specifically the singularity. This event is not tomorrow or next week. It comes after the culmination and the cleansing. And when he said the cleansing, that was where I heard a phrase, as above, so below. And what I was seeing and sensing then, this is what I wrote. I said, this refers to a sense that what happens externally is happening internally. We individually are determining what this looks like. The terms culmination and cleansing have as much or possibly even more to do with our personal demons, dragons, and insecurities and doubts than they do with the collective voice or messaging system with the population. What we are seeing happening beyond us begins within us. And that
Mhm.
came through. Did you understand what that means or what I'm?
Yes, no, I do. It's and and I have to admit, and one of the things I was going to say at the end, yeah, this is an editorial, just a drop. If you haven't read Drops of Light, do it. That's for everybody listening, because it actually helps understand some of the things we're talking about today,
Mm,
to clarify it. Um, Yes, and everybody has talked about an event, and so back in April, that was the description that was used.
mhm,
Today, I probably have a little better. I would describe it a little bit differently, as instead of a single event, it's going to be something, yes, but there is a process that's going on, and
mhm,
we're moved quite a bit forward from where we were in April in this process. And the process is external and it's internal.
mhm,
And we are individually going through things and learning to keep what's good and let go of everything that really doesn't matter. It's kind of like
mhm,
that's part of the cleansing.
mhm. And it's not referring only to people or jobs or habits. It's referring to personal attributes, personal decisions of this is who I was. I'm this. Well, maybe you're not that, or maybe I'm deciding I don't want to be that, or that's not my true expression. That's not the expression that suits someone who's in the process of evolving that we are, which is
Hmm.
it brings us right down to the core of ourselves.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So after well, that was my addition. And he goes on to say it sets the base frequency for the renewal. It is a moment of pure potential, and it will arrive when the possibilities and scenarios for your current world have played themselves out. You will not mistake the event or miss it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Many powerful and significant moments and occurrences will precede the event of which we speak.
Mm-hmm.
These leading events will have more to do, and specifically with societal alteration, as the stranglehold of control is released. These will involve financial and government systems primarily, as they are the managers of your everyday. So,
Mm-hmm.
as he answered this question, I think I sat down about 4 or 5 times to get the full flavor of the answer and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
words. And as he continued to talk about it, what came through um, really strongly is the idea that everything that's happening, and we're watching the news and watching the, governments and all of the wars, everything that's going on is an external expression of what's happening within us. And we come back again and again and again to the fact that we're creating this whole thing.
Right.
And it's not going to be, magic fairy dust drops on us one day and we all wake up in paradise. That's not how it's going to work,
Right.
because we have to
Right.
believe it, right? We have to believe it and know it.
E-
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's the belief and the knowing that makes it happen, that brings it
Mm-hmm.
into fruition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those are the first steps. Before
Mm-hmm.
it happens, you have to
Mm-hmm.
believe and then know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the steps of manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
And that is absolutely required. And it's, but we're all going to be doing it. And that's the other part of this. We're really are all in this together. We're all
Mm-hmm.
part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to bring everybody along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
That um, that's why the timing has been delayed. Well, say delayed. It wasn't as originally
Yeah.
expected because we decided to do it
Mm-hmm.
ourselves,
Yes.
and bring everybody along.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's something that occurred to me. Well, I'll talk about it at the end. I want to get as much of this into the recording as I can. So let me read a little bit more.
Okay.
But there was something that occurred to me today about what you just said. So we're going to bring everybody along. So I hope I remember at the end. So anyway, I'll keep reading. The next section is about the timing of it. He said, now to return to our discussion of the event and its predecessors. Realize that they are part of the expression or time you're living in. It is your frequency that contributes in an indirect fashion to timing. And then he says, questions of when push things further from your now. An intentional focus on creating a positive life for yourself, or day for yourself, or 5 minutes for yourself will energetically create a field of positivity. And this remains true at all times. He then says the preceding societal changes will follow the same protocol. Although some are labeling the banking collapse as the event, it is not the event of which you seek information for. It is a sign, though, that the slavery systems are failing in a way that cannot be recovered from,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is a
Right.
step. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. The the institutions under which we live were built for control. And the only way to replace them with something that is in everyone's best interest and not control is they have to be torn down
Mm-hmm.
first, unfortunately, and so and then rebuilt in a kinder, more loving fashion. That is that's the only way it can happen.
Right, right. And the more time passes, I think, I don't know if I'm speaking for everyone, but for a lot of us, people that I speak to, it feels like we're gaining more appreciation for why it is taking so long, because it has to.
Yes.
Physical reality only moves as fast as as we believe it does, I guess, but as we do, and it just has to. It can't be like Cinderella
Well,
or fairy
everybody's
dust. Yeah.
impatient. You know, everybody wants it
Yes.
done yesterday.
Yes. Right. I know. And that's never going to change, So,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, a few more. So, he goes on to say, once more, a local focus on he uses the word your and you a lot. And when he does, he's speaking empirically. Okay. So, it's not
Hmm.
specifically to you, but it's to all of us. Focus on your physical health, financial comfort, and an abundance of compassion will propel great change. It has to. The law of creation is law. What you focus on is your world. We cannot escape that. That is how it works every single time. Um, he's
Yes.
so yeah, he says it would be quite helpful in ways that are a challenge to convey accurately for you to maintain a focus on your immediate world. This will hone your creation skills. You will find that the expression woke up on the wrong side of bed this morning holds truth that goes much deeper than it casually implies, for you create your world in every way and every day. And what came through when he said that was, and this event is no exception.
Ah, okay.
So that really, wow, that came through really loud in my head. And I was like, okay, okay.
It's to characterize myself, I am a positive person. I generally always wake up on the right side of the bed looking forward to the day, whether I'm working that day or not. I'm, quote, retired, but I still work. It's the busy time of year, and they'd have me working 2 days a week if every week if I allowed them. But but even then, when I work or not work, it's always okay. It's today's great.
Hmm.
Glad I'm here,
Hmm.
and it makes life happier when
Yeah.
everything is half full instead of half empty.
Hmm.
It's when people talk about the law of attraction. If you're happy, you attract happiness. If you're mad, you kind of retract. If you're not, then you attract something different. It's even though I kind of always was that way before I learned though that it's
Hmm.
still it makes absolute sense. Okay, um, it takes no extra effort to have a smile on your face.
That's really true. And especially now that with the frequency,
Yeah.
manifestation is really fast. It's really fast. So,
Yeah, kind of notice times when there's a number of lights and I really don't catch any going to work.
hmm. Right, right,
Okay, yeah, no,
right.
I noticed that.
Hmm.
I did
Hmm.
notice that.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Right. That's exactly right. Thank you. Thank you very much. And
Yeah,
then and when I notice when there's a lot of lights, I take a deep breath and I say, okay, you are not centered today because nothing, let's just get you in sync with what's going on and then to straighten it out because, we don't
yes,
need traffic,
right,
right?
right, exactly,
Hmm.
exactly.
Okay, so then he goes on to say, the participants in it. So he said you create your world in every way and every day, and then he said the participants in it are there either as mirrors or pieces of what you made manifest. This includes all parts of and people in your life. Knowing this and accepting it as valid gives you the keys to the kingdom. Your creative ability shows up wherever you do. A bad day is a reflection of energetic expression.
Okay.
So that was, like I said, the more as this went on, the more that was said was just being driven home that we create everything,
Mm-hmm.
create
Mm-hmm.
absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So where was I? Okay, so the next part is he said some of you um a bad day is a reflection of energetic. Okay. Some of you are ready. Some of you are unaware, yet open and willing. Some of you are in between. Some of you are not willing. Each of these attitudes will define the effect of the event on you personally. You can either throw your hands up and enjoy the ride, accepting the incoming alterations, or cross your arms in distaste or refusal, defending to your physical detriment your right to do so. The
Mm-hmm.
and you can see that in people, right? People that
Yes.
want to hang
Yes.
on, but it's not. It should be this way because this is the way that makes me comfortable. Because it's not. Never once did he use the word "this event is comfortable." So
Right.
it's not.
Right.
It's just not. Um, he said the event is a moment that will be met differently, individually, and experienced the same way. So he's not saying the event is different. He's saying we're going to create it different according to ourselves
Right.
and our attitudes and our beliefs. Um, as the frequency speeds up here, it becomes more and more evident that you each swim in a sea of your own imagination. Your beliefs and intents and willingness to accept change determines your day and colors your world. Specifically, then, in the events moment of pure potential, pristine DNA and vibrant health is possible and right there. Whether or not it remains is individual choice. You are learning. Yeah, I thought that was, yeah. So
Okay.
that was the piece that he's added on here that there's a lot to be said about that. You are learning and growing and becoming, realizing your every potential. Rather than view a single event as the ultimate end, it is suggested that you view it as a step in your own evolution. For indeed, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and then he goes on to say, there are things to say about physical incarnation and its purpose. Its purpose is experience. It is a slowed down episode of creation in order to deeply hold every part of the process and thus to know it. This event will not remove the physical from reality. It will open a window in this physical realm into pure potentiality. So, yes, the DNA, indeed the entire being, will be returned or experienced as pristine, yet this is a starting point and not an ending point. And
Gotcha.
right, and so
Right.
and what I got there was so creation never ends for us. It doesn't end with the event or any other thing. It doesn't end with death. Whatever is created holds within it potential, and as creators, it is on us to utilize what we have created as the groundwork for further creation. It's eternal. We just
Mm-hmm.
keep, you know, there's no putting our feet up and saying, okay, I'm done now.
Hey,
I've created perfection. I'm done. No, there's always more.
there's always more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
It's on to the next spot. It's, yeah, no, I mean, it's about, as long as it's fun. And if you look at it, it's all fun. It never ends.
mhm.
You may complete one thing and you move on to the next fun thing. It's the continuation of the process.
Mm. Can't find my spot now, what I was saying to you. Um, okay. There are no magic pills in this life or any other. The magic of consistent vibrancy is sustained through personal intent. And again, what I got very quickly was there are no get out of jail free cards.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be gained and attained and lost as well. This is the reason for the time gaps in this lengthy process of what has been called ascension. It is for learning. It is for mastery. The story of an overnight millionaire is based on truth. The wealth is only sustained with the proper mindset. In other words, the overnight millionaire has to believe and act like a millionaire in order to maintain continual millionaire status. This involves knowing what things are necessary, what is required when there is wealth in the picture. It is the same with the coming transformation. For although it happens identically to and for all who are present on earth, there will be a wide variation of responses to it. So I thought that was interesting too.
Oh yeah, no, I mean um it's not a thing of that, like you said, there's no resting on any laurels.
Mm-mm,
If it's a constant progression. And like you said, you never, it isn't about, oh well, it's all done now. No, you
mm-hmm,
can't, you don't put your feet up.
mm-hmm,
It's always, you have to keep plugging along.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think in our defense, what we're living through here with the control matrix, it makes us want somebody to fix it.
Yes.
Right? It makes us want, well, come on, we've done this. It's hard enough. Well, we created it. And so this is the part of the learning and the time it's taking for us to get this that I really I find fascinating now, as frustrating as it is, because I was one who always wanted someone, just fix it. Just fix it. We'll get it. We'll figure it out. Just give it to us now and we'll figure it out after you fix it. Actually, no, we're fixing it, which is
Right.
a much richer experience.
Right.
Right?
No, for sure. It is. It
Yeah.
is a much richer experience.
Yeah.
And those of us will be involved in it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's no doubt about that. It'll be all part of the continuing process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He goes on to say, health is as much attitude as it is anything else. The cards have been stacked against you, and your attitude reflects that. This gradual release from the stronghold of slavery is meant to allow you time to settle in to each new frequency and to try your wings at every stage. It is akin to a baby's first steps, and there are falls to be endured.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes on to say, talk about med beds. He said,
Okay.
okay, he said there is an idea of med beds and there is a notion of light technology. There is the practice of hands-on healing with direct energy and intent. Let us look at these healing modalities as differentiated from today's Western influenced medicine, for these
Mm-hmm.
rely on internally initiated response to frequency, Well, Western medicine does not. It instead sees the body as reactive and mostly to force. I'm not sure what I meant by that. And mostly a force, I think I meant. There is a cutting out, as in surgery. There is ingestion of powerful chemicals whose task it is to mostly seek and destroy or to camouflage.
Yes.
And and again, when he said that, I had this additional information, and this is what I wrote. Here came an additional knowing that these methods are and have been utilized for a multitude of reasons. Some of them are karmic, some of them simply because at the time there were no other alternatives known to the person, and the other option was not desired. That other option could be continued illness or disability, or finally, death. Once new options become more well known due to a base love frequency, everything about these choices changes. I
Hmm.
and I didn't see immediate change over here. I saw one that will eventually and gradually shift as the new earth takes a foothold. Um,
Hmm.
and that the meaning and the motivation for healing will gradually change, or maybe not so gradually. I guess it depends on us, right? How many people grab on and say, no, no, we're not going to do things by force anymore. We're going to do them, you know, gently and in concert with the mind, body, and spirit of the person. Um,
Right.
but definitely there was a feeling that I didn't see this immediate once the event hits, all the hospitals shut down and healing centers open up in their stead, although I think that's going to happen, maybe not hospital shut down, but you know what I'm saying, right? That there would be places of
That will come from the
absolutely,
individual.
yeah,
That will be driven by the individuals, the ones who want to believe that all they need to do is take a pill and they can continue to
mm-hmm,
do whatever they're doing and everything's
mm-hmm,
fine. Um, will continue to do that. The people who are really interested in taking responsibility for their own health
mm-hmm.
will look for alternatives. We'll start to
Yes,
see that this is may not be the right way. What are my options?
mm-hmm,
And with the internet, there have been other options.
mm-hmm,
Even I have found some other things, whether it be iodine or vitamin C, just some things that have been ignored by mainstream medicine. Um, because mainstream medicine is a business, it's about profit.
mm-hmm,
Even though the individuals may not be, but the decisions are made at the top based on profit.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I've One of the things I've been fortunate is I'm a big picture person.
mm-hmm,
I can connect various things and see the big picture of it. And I learned about the business side a long time ago.
mm-hmm,
And so I've known that for a while and have looked at other modalities, looked at alternative medicines newsletters for 25 years.
mm-hmm,
With the internet, there are additional modalities. So um, yeah, every people are going to have to start taking responsibility for their own health and ask questions. And if you
mm-hmm.
can't get a good enough answer, look someplace else.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right, right, right. And consciousness is all about responsibility,
Yes,
which is
yes.
one of, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
to be sovereign, you're responsible.
Mm-hmm,
That is the major part. You
mm-hmm,
are responsible.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So, okay, I'll finish this up and then let's finish up. So he says,
Okay.
what happens after the event, and to some extent is already happening, is that the race begins to see the body slash spirit as causal. As such, remedies are understood to have to emerge from the same place, from the body and the spirit. To answer quite directly, then, both of the questions can be answered with a single word, yes. The body slash spirit slash DNA is seen, felt, and experienced full and in its pristine form. And additional processes and methods will be utilized to inspire continued vibrancy. These until and unless the being who is operating that said body generates persistent health on its own. So do you understand what he's saying? He's like saying both your questions can be answered yes.
Yes.
It's going to be, like a fresh start, like at the beginning of a race. Everybody's on the same, right?
Yes, but it's also body and spirit,
Yes.
body and energy. And
Hmm.
mainstream medicine, Western medicine, is the only type of medicine that doesn't take in energy work.
Right.
Acupuncture, Reichi, holistic medicines, and there was one more, and I've forgotten, but all of them take in energy work,
Hmm. Hmm.
and mainstream medicine does not. And so it's one of the reasons I make sure I shake the hands of my patients, that I have a physical contact with them,
Hmm. Hmm.
because in some way that's helping them, even if it's no more than to reduce their anxiety. Then I have helped them heal faster. If cortisol levels are involved, emotional stress is stress, just like physical stress. And if I can reduce that, then I have reduced the amount of inflammatory response from the cortisol, and
Hmm.
they'll heal faster.
Hmm.
That is that is more my contribution than the actual anesthetic that I give.
Hmm.
It's more the art side. It's the energy side. And again, I understand that. I try to share that as much as possible.
Hmm. We'll close out with this. He says it is important to comprehend where all of these desired attributes come from, which is really what you're speaking to here. Vibrancy, abundance, and health are the result of sustained love, with love as a base frequency, one that is uninterrupted with waves of fear. Eternal health rises always to the surface. He says there is an interim method period. I'm sorry, there is an interim period when outside methods are necessary. There is also what can be referred to as maintenance light technology. This is because the human vehicle faces physical stress and it is necessary to keep it fully charged. Future generations will require less and less intervention. Consciousness and maintenance are part of physical life and always will be. How that is applied will change, however, due to time, quotes around time, and experience.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that was how he ended. That's how he ended his answer, actually.
Cool, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's again, there are light therapies, whether it's infrared and near infrared. Um, there are people who actually gaze into the sun during the first hour, after sunrise and before sunset, as an energy source. Some people, one of the, I guess he was a yogi from India, talked about it that he hadn't eaten in 10 years. He drinks
Oh.
water, but he would gaze into the sun, and that would
Mm-hmm.
supply all of his energy needs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so again, yes, there are other things out there that will help us, and as we become, as humanity on a whole becomes more aware of that, then
Mm-hmm.
the need for conventional medicine will go away. We will start to be healthier, and there'll be less of a need. And the people who aren't interested will will still take part in their pills and um, going to their physicians. But but also it comes back. What when I say it comes back to, you're going to have to take responsibility for your own health
Hmm.
and investigate it yourself, and then look at the options.
Hmm. Right, right. Um, and that's part of the evolution because
Yes.
everyone's right. We're all here on the same planet right now. Those of us, you and me, and anyone listening to this, and anyone else in our lives, anyone else on the planet right now, we all came for this time right now, and our time is to experience this supercharged, rapid moment of events and um, potential evolution. And
Hmm.
what I was thinking of earlier that I wanted to remind myself to say before we finish our discussion here is that something that has occurred to me, and I don't have the words for, but I'll try. Um, we have been for I wrote the book Drops of Light, and as I read it I realized that we've all been doing this for a very long time. and
Yes.
and yeah, and we've been seeing change, and you can see the world's changed since we started, and we've changed.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there's something that I believe now that it's almost time for us to examine, and that is that we came to evolve as well. So it's not as if we're going to evolve to this and go through this event, come out and then drag everyone through with us. We're we're learning too. And we came to experience the learning at whatever level we are at. And so there's a humbling, I think, that we haven't maybe I'm speaking for myself, but haven't adopted. It's not that I guess what I'm saying is the way to go through this is not there's not just one best way. It's not that some of us are more spiritually evolved and going to go through and end up, you know, with all, bluebirds and happiness at the end, and other people aren't going to get it and they're being punished. It's not what it is. It's not even punishment is the wrong word, but we're here to learn too. And
Yes.
the learning that we are getting is no less or more evolved than the learning that every other human is getting, no matter who they are, no matter what their beliefs are, no matter what um, they think about what we believe about energy healing or whatever, or the event or anything else. It's probably, if it's not in their vocabulary, it doesn't matter. There's no
Right.
levels of healing, just like there's no levels of people. We're one. We just came for a ride. And you and I and the people that listen to things like this are on a certain kind of ride. But that doesn't make it any more evolved than the ride that somebody else is on. I guess that's what I wanted to say. There's something,
No,
you know what I mean?
and I know exactly what you mean, and that is exactly correct. We all have our own path. We all
Yeah,
have our
yeah,
own ride.
yeah.
And it's just because somebody's ride may have more twists and turns than somebody else makes no difference. We all have our own ride.
Mhm.
It's the ride we've chosen,
Yeah.
and we're allowed to ride on it.
Hmm.
And you can decide to throw your hands up and have enjoy it, or you can
Hmm.
fight it.
Hmm.
But we all have our own ride, and there is no distinction there.
Hmm.
Again, we all are in it together,
Hmm.
and we really are. And and I'll second the thought that, there is no difference. We're all equal.
Right,
We're all the same,
right, right.
and we're all trying to figure it out in
Hmm.
our own way.
Hmm. Hmm. In our own way. That's really nicely put. I like that because it is, and it makes it's a great equalizer. It just and it takes the pressure off. In the beginning, which I did write about in that book, that we all thought we had to tell everybody. hey,
Right.
this is
Right.
it. This is it. Get on board, get on board. And many of us were faced with, are you nuts? Or whatever, And so we stopped after a while and stopped saying what we believed because clearly not everyone did. And that doesn't mean that we were right and they were wrong. It just means that they're on a different ride, the way you put it. So I like that.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
nice. Yeah, we're all in the same amusement park,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So is there anything else you want to say before I close it
Um,
out?
yeah, I think I closed it out. I injected that. Like I said, if you haven't read Drops of Light, you need to. Um, and you take responsibility for your own health. Everybody, all the practitioners that do practice medicine are generally interested in doing what they think is in your best interest. But whether it is or not, you have to determine that. Don't go in with blind faith. And as people start to see the options, I think we'll have more people doing that.
Yeah.
And that was it. Those were the 2 points that I wanted to emphasize.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your question and for adding it to our collective journey. I really appreciate you sharing as much as you did. And to everyone else, lots of love and light. And the series is starting up again. So we'll do this again in a couple of weeks. And I um, wish everyone peace and lots of love.
And I second that. And thank you, Sophia.
You're welcome.